Welcome back. We're jumping right into today's explainer, presented by Dr. Christophe Delong and Kinexa. Today, we're exploring a seriously fascinating intersection, looking at Impressionist art through the razor-sharp lens of clinical neuroscience. I know, art and neuroscience kind of sounds like an unexpected pairing, right? But trust me, by the end of our time together, you are never going to look at a painting, or even your own hands, the exact same way again.
Okay, here is our roadmap for today. First, neuro-agility in art. Then, music and the kinetic chain. Third, everyday micromotoricity. Fourth, synaptic plasticity. And we'll wrap it all up with the Kinexa clinical protocol. Let's get right into it.
Section 1. Neuro-Agility in art. Think of neuroagility as that perfect sweet spot where pure artistic intention meets absolute physical mastery. It's that magic moment when exactly what your mind desires is flawlessly executed by your body's mechanics. You can see this captured so perfectly in Renoir's Girls at the Piano. At a macro level, you get this beautiful, soft, artistic moment, right? But if you focus all the way down on the distal precision, the fingertips on that keyboard, Renoir is actually giving us a live demonstration of neuroagility. The fluidity of those fingers isn't magic. It comes from an artistic intention repeated over and over and over again until it becomes a fully fluid automatic motor response. Every single repetition is quite literally changing the nervous system. Section 2. Music and the kinetic chain. Now, those ultra-fine, localized finger movements we were just talking about, they definitely do not happen in a vacuum. Your entire body mechanics have to support them. Gustav Keilebet's The Piano Lesson brilliantly illustrates this whole concept. Just think about the geometric precision going on there. The entire body is mobilized. The neck, the shoulders, the forearms, they're all locking together to form this highly concentrated, tense kinetic chain, and it's all focused on striking one single precise note. The really crucial takeaway here is that the pianist's posture reveals how a cognitive intention actively organizes all that upper muscle coordination. The gaze guides the hand, and the hand guides the sound. Section 3. Everyday micromotricity. But hey, this isn't just about grand musical performances. This applies to you and me today. Dr. Delong points out how even everyday micromovements, like a seamstress sewing with surgical precision in a Mary Cassatt painting, require intense synchronization between the eye and the hand. Monet's The Luncheon is another amazing example. He captures these incredibly precise gestures of daily life: serving, pouring, arranging. The hand and the wrist are basically orchestrating this silent choreography. These seemingly simple, superordinary acts we all do every single day, they actually require an incredibly complex and deeply human neuromotor architecture, all driven by habit and an intense, almost invisible concentration. So what is the medical takeaway here? Well, we need to lock in on a scientific concept called distal fluidity. Essentially, this means the very extremities of your limbs serve as a mirror for your overall neuromotor health. With this idea, we're officially bridging that soft, beautiful world of artistic observation right into the hard data of clinical neuroscience. Section 4. Synaptic plasticity. Get ready, because this brings us to the big aha moment of this explainer. What Dr. Christophe Delong and Kinexa want us to realize is that the Impressionists weren't just painting hands. They were inadvertently painting the human nervous system at work on a canvas. And they did that through myelination. When these artists practiced, or when the subjects they painted practiced piano or sewing, they were doing exactly this. Myelination is the process where repetition physically strengthens your nerve fibers. It builds up this myelin sheath around the nerves, which literally accelerates the transmission of the motor signal. So musical and artistic repetition is physically building high-speed neural highways right inside your brain. Let's break down how this actually works mechanically. Step 1 is the artistic signal. That intention creates a neuronal signal that's highly focused, repeated, and emotionally charged, which, by the way, are the absolute optimal conditions for synaptic plasticity. Then step 2 is the neural highway. Through sheer repetition, that gesture moves out of the primary motor cortex and settles deep into the basal ganglia. It becomes automatic. And here is the true genius of it. By making that movement automatic, you free up your brain's processing power for pure, unadulterated creativity. Section 5. The Kinexa clinical protocol. So how do we take all this historical visual biohacking and actually apply it today? Well, Kinexa takes that exact distal fluidity we just saw in those paintings, and they measure it. By using advanced AI, Kinexa measures exactly what artists like Renoir perceived intuitively, the absolute quality of the signal between the intention of the brain and the execution down in the fingertips. They analyze the repetition, they detect blockages, and they extract real actionable clinical data to guide neuromotor rehabilitation.
It's an absolute game changer.
I want you to take a second and really let this quote sink in. Monet didn't paint flowers. He painted the signal sent to his visual cortex. I mean, wow, that is a profound thesis. At Kinexa, they're effectively reversing this exact process. They use AI as an interface to help your brain command movement with that very same flawless impressionist fluidity.
Okay, so what should you actually take away from this right now? Well, here are your practical exercises for day 7 to start building your own neural highways today. First, practice precise gestures. Try some incredibly slow, deliberate writing or drawing. Second, work on that eye-hand coordination by synchronizing your visual tracking with manual movements. And finally, practice controlled slowness. Just voluntarily slow down your everyday gestures to really build up deep proprioceptive awareness.
As we wrap up today's explainer, I want to leave you with a slightly provocative thought. How will your next everyday gesture rewrite your neural pathways? Really think about that the next time you pour your coffee or type on a keyboard. And are you ready for the oscillation of tomorrow? Because for day 8, we are going to explore the fascinating dialogue between gravity and anticipation in Renoir's masterpiece, The Swing. You definitely won't want to miss it. Thanks for hanging out with me, and keep paying attention to those micro movements.